Here's what you need to know.
The MLB All-Star Game is tonight from Texas, and it all starts at 8 Eastern. Pirates rookie sensation Paul Skeens will be on the mound to start for the NL, and Corbin Burns of the Orioles will start for the AL. Commissioner Rob Manfred spoke to the media ahead of the All-Star Game, and he mentioned that MLB players participating in the 2028 LA Olympics remains a possibility, and that the league will test robot umpires as part of a challenge system during spring training in 2025, which could lead to regular season use in 2026. In the NFL, 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has requested a trade, but ESPN reports that teams have reached out to the Niners and have been told that they have no intention of trading him. Wide receiver Devontae Adams' agent said that the trade talk rumors surrounding their client are baseless and unfounded speculation, and that there have been no trade talks with the Raiders. I'm Monty Bolaños.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here alongside Eric Frandsen. Be careful where you grab that mic, Eric.
I've now known to always hit my little mute button here whenever I mess with it.
The microphone has a seizure if you don't handle it the right way.
Handle with care.
Yeah, basically, I was talking with the engineer, can we figure out a way so in case we accidentally do that, because it's very intuitive just to adjust the mic. It's an impulsive thing as a radio host, and even just speaking in the radio, always adjusting your mic back and forth, back and forth.
That's right.
Just little adjustments.
Very true.
Glad to have you on for a Tuesday edition of the show. Feel free to text in 435-339-0321. That's the number to join the show via the Full Court Press text line. Lot to go over. The latest. And I don't know what to call it. We need a name for this whole thing. I just keep calling it the Blake Anderson situation, the firings. Sometimes call it the Nate Dreiling situation because that's, when they were at Mountain West Media Days, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, Nate Dreiling has nothing to do with it.
He's tangentially really involved.
Yeah.
So I need a quick and easy name for all this, keeping it appropriate and simple. Other than saying the firings of Blake Anderson, Jerry Bovee, Amy Crosbie, Austin Albrecht, and the ensuing installation of Nate Dreiling as interim head coach.
July 2nd, 2024.
Yeah, just the whole dang thing. So we'll give you the latest. Today marks 14 days since the university notified Blake Anderson, Jerry Bovee, Amy Crosbie, Austin Albrecht of their intent to terminate their employment at Utah State University in their respective positions. So that's the head football coach, deputy athletic director. I forget Amy Crosby's full title, senior woman administrator, and there's one other major title she had. I forget exactly what it was. But basically kind of the deputy to Jerry Bovee, and the person who's generally at the head of women's athletics, and obviously very successful on that side. And then Austin Albrecht in charge of player development and personnel with the football program. So we'd submitted grammar requests and all that, and we'll certainly get into that. Among other things we have to get to today, Utah State basketball. This is something I'd heard of that they were potentially going to do, and they announced it late last night after our show that Utah State men's basketball will be going on a European tour. They'll go to Europe. This is something that college programs are allowed to do every 3 or 4 years, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it's been a minute since the men's basketball team has done something of this. I think last time they went to Italy, too. They'll be going to Italy and Croatia. We'll get into that a little bit later. Also, the latest updates on NBA Summer League. How are the former Aggies doing in the Summer League? How are the Utah Jazz doing and all of their players? And we've also got the stat to blow our minds and our players of the week. All that coming up on today's show. So, let's get into the situation.
Yeah, the situation. And we've got a couple of texts coming in on this. So let's just get into those, because then I think that can kind of help guide us through this, because the latest developments. 9315, getting us started. Is the saying, no news is good news, apply to anything sports related today? Well, there is news. It's just we don't have the details of what's included there. 5452, can we refer to the Utah State dumpster fire as J2? Okay.
If you really want, I guess.
6521, just say the mess on the hill. We'll get it.
Yeah, basically.
That's a good point.
The mess is generally a good...
The mess on the hill. That's that encompasses a lot. No, but here is the news of the day. This was late yesterday. Tom Mars, who is the attorney that is representing Blake Anderson in his appeal to his being fired with cause, according to the university. And he's we'll go back through some other tweets that he put out that I didn't see last week. But last night he said, and I quote, and he put this on X or Twitter, he says, on behalf of head football coach Blake Anderson, we submitted a 70-page response to USU's termination notice to the athletics director earlier today. As a courtesy to the university, we won't be commenting or releasing the response while Coach Anderson is still employed by USU.
Yeah, and Blake Anderson is still employed, and he is still the head football coach. That's something that we often that I've kind of overlooked, calling him, former deputy AD Jerry Bovee, former head coach. Technically, I believe they're still in their respective positions, maybe. I'm not 100% sure about Jerry Bovee and Amy Crosbie.
Well, Jerry Bovee, Amy Crosbie, Austin Albrecht, they have been fired.
They have been fit, yeah.
Blake Anderson is on administrative leave. And Nate Dreiling has been named the interim head coach. And this whole thing about being fired with cause is what's being disputed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Blake Anderson is technically still an employee of the university.
Yeah, and so that certainly complicates things. And we've filed grammar requests. The deadlines for the responses from the university were, I think, yesterday, which they did respond. I should point that out really quick. They have responded in the required timeline. Unsurprisingly, they denied most of what we were asking for.
Right, and their responses, we're hoping that we'd have a little bit more meat to it, just so we can figure out what's going on from a public perspective. But it seemed to be most of their responses were, this is in relation to an ongoing matter that, if we shared details, might affect or could affect the process of what's going on in these appeals processes.
Yeah, some of their justifications for not releasing the information was justified and in accordance with Utah law. Some of it was a little shaky, and it felt like they were just adding on reasons they were denying us that weren't applicable. But some of them, obviously, there is some justification for not releasing it. Obviously, that's not going to stop us. We'll obviously be working through this. It just means that there's more time to wait, which, to be honest, was the outcome I was expecting. They're not going to be willingly revealing this information. They're going to be fighting to keep a lot of this private, mostly just on principle. It's not necessarily that they have something to hide. It's just a lot of public organizations prefer to keep this information private. They don't necessarily like to produce this kind of information just willy-nilly. So it just means it's going to be a little bit longer until we find things out, unless one of these sides reveals something publicly. And I feel like that's where the statement from Tom Mars is interesting, because he said, look, we're going to keep this private so long as Blake Anderson is an employee at Utah State. And that's kind of a little, Utah State saying, all right, the second you fire him, this is going to start getting public.
He did have some interesting comments that he made last week. And these were in response to Jerry Bovee going to social media to alert everybody about Amy Crosbie being let go, because the university did not issue a statement about Crosbie being let go.
Yeah.
and it was only through Jerry Bovee taking to social media that anybody knew about it. So there was a response to Bovee's post. This is from Heard It First account, saying, hearing very interesting, almost scary things about the storyline going on in Logan. I'm not picking sides, but if what I'm hearing about the reasons for these firings are true, it'll be a very short stint for AD Sabo in Logan. And then Tom Mars replies to that, saying, soon to be released, new evidence will reveal indefensible, fatal errors in USU's 8-month sham investigation, which is in quotations, falsely disguised by USU's AD as a commitment to Title IX. This baseless smear campaign made me the worst blunder by an AD in the history of college sports. To which then he replies to that post. He's not done. He says, I was wrong. Utah State's sham investigation, again in quotations, of alleged policy violations did not last 8 months. It lasted 12 months. Per USU's report, they interviewed a total of 10 people, an average of more than 5 weeks per person. That has to be a new record.
Yeah, a lot of this is hyperbolic speech from attorneys, which I find a little annoying, and they just use overly strong language. And I don't know why they do this, because it's he doth protest too much. It gives off that kind of energy way too often in a lot of these cases. But yeah, revealing details of the investigation, that's something I get the feeling Utah State doesn't necessarily want. You would think they would want to show their evidence as to why they let go of Blake Anderson. Of course, some of that is their hands are tied with legal proceedings and they don't want to reveal anything yet. And there's also the fact that this does involve students, which they're obliged to protect their identities and whatnot. That was also part of the reason we were denied some of our grammar requests, because we asked for the investigation. We asked for the report. That was one of the things we just straight up asked for. We know who conducted the report. We asked for that report very specifically, and they told us no on a couple of different grounds, some of which have more basis in law than others. Of course, I shouldn't try and play lawyer on radio. That's kind of a dangerous thing for me to be doing, is offering my legal opinions, because my legal opinions are absolutely meaningless as far as my interpretations of the law. But, so this is something that obviously people are trying to find out. Utah State is deliberately withholding it. And obviously the parties, Blake Anderson and Jerry Bovee, they've not released it publicly, largely because they're still filing their grievances and whatnot with Utah State. So they're not necessarily going to release it on their end. But Blake's attorney, Tom Mars, may end up revealing that information. Of course, they'll probably reveal the stuff that looks favorable to them. I don't know if he's just going to be like, here's the full report. I don't know if he'd necessarily do that, because obviously he's working on behalf of Blake Anderson, wants to try and vindicate Blake Anderson in whatever way he can, win the war of public opinion here. But yeah, just kind of waiting until the dam finally breaks. Either we break through on our grammar requests, or one of these parties just lets the investigation details slip. And suddenly we begin to find out more details. Because, again, that's what we're missing. People are taking sides. Even though we probably shouldn't be doing that, people are taking sides. People are releasing unsubstantiated rumors about, I've heard this, and, Diana Sabo might be in big trouble, or Diana Sabo was doing the right thing because she was cleaning house, because it was good old boys club, whatnot, with everyone just kind of, just hiring, nepotism, things like that. All these kind of accusations that I've heard. Okay, it's all unsubstantiated rumors, but we're kind of sitting here waiting for the details. It may come from Blake's camp. That seems to be the most likely one to let that information go.
Yeah, based on at least the online personality of his attorney, but also the time frame of his situation.
Yeah.
This is a quote that he made, a statement that he made to Chris Vanini at the Athletic shortly after this all was going down. The USU statement seemed to indicate that this was related to a sexual assault, and has the evidence has says it is what's involved here is none of what's involved here is even remotely connected to sexual assault, sexual misconduct, or anything else that involves sex. So this has been positioned and painted in a certain way to make these people look like this was a pretty egregious oversight. And now the other sides are fighting back and trying to say, hey, look, that's not who we are. We wouldn't have done anything like that. So they're rightfully, fighting back to try to protect their reputations.
Yeah, they're fighting back for the reputation. They're not necessarily fighting back to get their job back. They know that ship has sailed, and they probably wouldn't want to come back under Diana Sabo.
Yeah, if current leadership remains the same, don't count on them coming back.
Yeah, but it is fighting for potentially their next job. Like, a lot of these people are obviously still looking to work in athletics. Blake Anderson as a football coach, Jerry Bovee and Amy Crosbie as administrators, Austin Albrecht, on a football staff himself. Like, they are capable of having futures in these fields, and this obviously has a direct impact on that potential. Like, if it stands, if the accusations that they fail to report instances of sexual misconduct or domestic violence, like, people take that seriously, and justifiably so. So if they don't fight back against those implications, then, well, they may never work in athletics again. Their dream careers. So it's a very serious situation for all these people. We've heard mostly from their sides. We've heard a lot from Blake Anderson's side. We've heard from Jerry Bovee, even Amy Crosbie has said something publicly as well.
Yeah, issued basically an op-ed to the Herald Journal, which was posted last night. I think it was printed in the paper today for those who receive it, but it was online to be read last night. And you know what? Kudos to her. I mean, she's a much better person than I am, the way that this was written, because it's mostly about showing, expressing gratitude to Utah State as an institution where she came to play as an athlete, where she met her husband, where she got into administration, where she grew as a person, where she was able to work with students and coaches and athletes. And one line here, at every stage of my career, I have kept student athletes and their experience at the forefront of my values and actions. As a female athlete, a daughter, a mother, and leader, I've always stood up for what's right. I'm grateful to have played a role in so many athletes' success and for the valuable lessons I learned through their perseverance. So she's taking the high road here, but she's also making it clear, like, look, I've always tried to look out for students and do things the right way. So you can read between the lines here that she's also trying to protect her credibility and her reputation for somebody who stands up for people, not sweeps things under the rug.
Yeah, and you really have to praise Jerry Bovee and Amy Crosbie for how they've handled this, especially if you make the assumption that they're innocent of what they've been accused of, because they've not really attacked Utah State and fought back. Blake Anderson and his attorney, they've kind of fought back and thrown barbs at Utah State, perhaps justifiably so. But Jerry Bovee's been like, look, he wants what's best for Utah State. And, he's obviously going to be filing a grievance and going through the whole process, but he's going to, try and do things the right way from his perspective, and Amy Crosbie as well. So they're handling it with about as much class as you possibly can. Not to say that Blake Anderson isn't, because, aside from a couple of tweets from his lawyer, there's nothing wrong with what he's done. And even then, it's not like his lawyer's done anything wrong. He's just thrown a couple of jabs, which, again, if Blake is innocent, then he'd probably be justified in throwing some of those jabs. So it is interesting to see their responses. We obviously haven't heard anything from Austin Albrecht, and I don't even know if he is fighting it too much, because while we were denied some records regarding like termination notices and whatnot for Jerry Bovee, Blake Anderson, and Amy Crosbie, we received Albrecht's termination letter.
Yeah, which is odd that of the 4 people involved, that's the only one that they did submit, share.
So it's, I guess the others seem to be fighting, so it's kind of an ongoing thing. And so that's why they're not releasing any information regarding that.
One other, just at the conclusion of Amy Crosbie's piece, she says, the last week has brought confusion, heartache, and tears. That's the downside of this heart-wrenching situation. There's also been a positive side. Since the news broke, I've received overwhelming love and support from people I've built relationships with over the past 27 years. Their calls, texts, and visits have helped me make up my mind. As I decide what to do next, I will not lament what's happened. Instead, I choose gratitude. Your kind words and messages have reminded me that each of us has choices to make in this life when faced with adversity. While I decide what comes next, I choose to keep my chin up, my heart open, and my spirit of gratitude intact. Thank you, so many of you, for helping to make that possible.
Yeah, so and in reading that as well, like it's been nice to see everyone rallying around Jerry and Amy, like both of them, standing up for their character. These two are Aggies through and through, and it really shows that Aggies try and stick together, no matter what position they're in. Which
right.
Obviously, right now, not a very good time for both the Bovee and Crosbie households.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, others, we're focusing on those two, but there are others, even at the Mountain West Media Days, who spoke in favor of Blake Anderson. We've heard from some of the student athletes that made it clear the reason they're here is because of Blake Anderson. They had opportunities to go somewhere else, but they're here because of that head coach. Yeah,
definitely. We need to take a break. We'll actually continue on this topic coming up next. Speaking of Mountain West Media Days, there were a few quotes, some audio that we pulled from some of the other head coaches in the Mountain West, picked just a handful along with one of the players, some things they had to say about this whole situation. Some of it focusing more on overcoming adversity and more in a football sense. But we'll get to that. We've also got a couple of texts, so we'll make sure to get to those on the other side of this break. We'll be back after this here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM The Fan, and the Full Court Press.
How many years has it been since you were married? 1 year? 10 years? Longer? This is Jarrett from Jarrett's Fine Jewelry. No matter how many years it's been, you always remember just how you felt. Show her you love her all over again with something special from Jarrett's. We can help you surprise her or bring her in and you can pick it out together. Maybe it's restyling the old ring or upgrading to a larger diamond that she just may have hinted about. No matter how many years it's been, let us help make it special on your anniversary.
Jarrett's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarrett's.
Elements has delicious lunch specials. Soup, salad, and bread for just $10 is tasty and quick. Elements lunch menu is full of scrumptious items. Wood-fired pizzas are an excellent choice that include barbecued chicken and the bee's knees. The fresh battered halibut fish and chips with seasoned fries is always a hit. And don't forget the fan favorite, Chipotle fried chicken sandwich. Thursdays, enjoy Elements house-made smoked brisket, casual or professional. Open Monday through Thursday, 11:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9. Visit theelementsrestaurant.com for reservations.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 4th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Summer in Cache Valley is beautiful, and the Sportsman on Main Street has all your bike needs covered. Get your bike in now for service or a tune-up. We can usually get your service done in about 2 days. Be ready for the beautiful riding days ahead. If you need a new bike, we have kids to adult full suspension mountain bikes and e-bikes for around town or the mountains. From bikes to helmets to locks and clothing, come and see us at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan for all your biking needs.
Retirement. Are you ready? Adams Wealth Advisors specializes in preparing you for a secure retirement. There's no reason to feel frustrated. The team at Adams Wealth will create a personalized plan that includes timing of retirement, reliable income sources, Social Security, estate planning, and more. Adams Wealth Advisors has a team of CPA, certified financial planners, Social Security experts to help you plan and retire with confidence. Call today, 752-1702, or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com. Your dream retirement starts here.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with Eric Frandsen, 1069 FM, 1390 AM The Fan. Streaming online at 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app. And available on podcast afterward. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us there. Just search for the Full Court Press. A couple texts coming in, 0298, saying AD is building her resume. She wants to be a Big Ten AD, which is certainly possible. I think that was one of the talking points when she first got hired. It's like, hey, it's an outsider, and they're always looking at it as a stepping stone. I mean, John Hartwell always seemed to be looking at Utah State as a stepping stone.
Yeah, he stepped backwards.
Yeah, he stepped backwards. Couldn't quite step up, although
couldn't land the big fish.
From what I've heard, he was certainly trying.
Oh, he was trying hard.
He was trying really hard to get a couple different athletic director jobs. 9776. Texting in saying, you might have mentioned this on another show that I missed, but wasn't Sabo at Ohio State when the assistant coach was arrested for domestic violence and it was swept under the rug, and now she's trying to act like something happened here when there's been no criminal charges? Now, neither myself or Eric could remember that. I mean, we don't follow Ohio State super closely. We were just kind of Googling it, although I just realized now he's talking about an assistant coach. Urban Meyer was involved, or I guess
Urban Meyer was the head coach.
Yeah, I guess because he swept what his assistant did under the rug. Now, this would have happened back in 2015. He was suspended in 2018, though I don't think Sabo was there at the time. I was trying to find
She was there
timeline.
in 2018.
Yeah, so like when he got suspended, but
I'm not sure of her full professional timeline.
Yeah, I was trying to read her profile. The problem is they never use years. You have to read like the entire thing. Like, well, then there's this. She was there for 4 years and try and line up all the dates. Didn't quite have enough time to do that, but I don't think she would have been at Ohio State when the incident happened, but she was there when Urban Meyer would have been suspended, although I don't know how much she would have had as far as input into that. But she certainly was fairly high up in the athletic department at the time.
Right.
So may have had some input, but I'm not sure how much. Wanted to play a few clips, which I realized I still haven't actually loaded. I was like halfway through loading them into the computer to play. Different clips from Mountain West Media Days regarding, Blake Anderson being fired and Nate Dreiling becoming new head coach. A lot of these tended to be a little more about Dreiling because they were kind of focusing on the football side of this. So the clips I have, you've got San Diego State head coach Sean Lewis, Colorado State head coach Jay Norvell, Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson, and also Boise State defensive end Ahmed Hassanian, I think. I don't know how to pronounce his name quite properly. Wanted to start off with, we'll just kind of play these, starting with Jay Norvell. His was kind of interesting, talking about his perspective in being saddened by the news.
It's very difficult. I was saddened by it, and I know Coach Anderson like I know a lot of the coaches in this conference, and you just feel badly when a program has to go through that at this time of year. It's so difficult for the players and the staff. So I feel for him. I wish him good luck, and met the interim head coach last night. He's a sharp guy, good guy, and nobody wants to see anybody go through that this time of year. It's very disruptive.
Yeah, I know not everybody, knew Blake Anderson super well, but again, a lot of these coaches can certainly feel for him. Here's Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson.
I don't know Nate Dreiling really well. I've gotten to know him a little bit. We've talked a little bit of ball. He's a really good football coach. I got to know Blake Anderson a little bit over the time, and he was great with me in my interactions. But I'm excited to see Nate Dreiling take over. We talked a little bit about it, and I just said, man, you got to stay true to who you are. And he's going to do a great job. He's got a really good staff around him. They got good players. And so I just believe in you got to control what you can control. There's going to be a lot of things pulling at him, pulling at the staff, the fan base, whatever it might be. Focus on what you can control. Build into the players, get a team ready to play, and little by little he'll continue to find his stride as they work into the season. But I think Nate Drown's going to do a really good job.
And I think that control what you can control, that factored into this, what some of the players said. Had several clips from some of the players, and we'll probably be publishing kind of this as just kind of a aggregate article. Like, here's what all the people said, not just these 4 individuals, but some of the players had a lot of similar things to say. And I used Hassanian's quote, or am I butchering his
Hassanin?
Hassanin, there we go.
I think that's how it is.
I'm adding like an extra syllable to his name. My apologies to one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West for not knowing how to pronounce his name. And he has an interesting story in and of himself. But yeah, his comments kind of embodied what a lot of the players were saying, where they were focusing on kind of the football aspect. And another thing with Danielson talking about controlling what you can control.
I don't know.
Nope, that's still Danielson. Let's actually play the right quote there. Here we go.
I feel like adversity, if with anything, you can take it 2 ways. You can take it in the good route and the bad route. Any team that goes through adversity will be a good team if they chose to put their head down and make it work out. And we can sit here and tell you like, yeah, I'm my head coach, and complain and tell you like, I love that and all that stuff. But other than just like getting together and dealing with adversity and just dealing with one, just putting 1 week at a time, I feel they're gonna do great things.
Yeah, so that was Ahmed Hassanin. Did I get that right? Maybe?
Sure.
Not good with Egyptian names. Yeah, again, his story, and I'm sure Boise State writers have covered it. Very interesting. When I listened to his interview, just a kind of a crazy story, how he ended up in football to begin with. But again, we're focusing on Blake Anderson firing. The mess on the hill, is that what we're going with?
The mess on the hill.
The mess on the hill.
Yes.
I think I might do that. One of the more interesting things was with Sean Lewis, San Diego State's new head coach, kind of his thoughts on Nate Dreiling. I found particularly interesting, including one nugget that he kind of just drops in there casually in the middle of this quote here.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a coach that can do it, I know it's Coach Nate, right? I mean, he was actually a candidate that I spoke to about being our defensive coordinator at San Diego State. And I know that he's very highly regarded. I think the world of him. I know that he can embrace that challenge as we go forward with everything with it. And, I mean, shoot, I know the guys will rally as a team, the culture that's been, established there, and looking forward to the way that they attack it.
Yeah, so overall, just a lot of praise for Nate Dreiling. I mean, Sean Lewis, I can't remember if it had been reported earlier, if he'd noted apparently wanting Nate Dreiling as one of, a guy that he talked to about being a defensive coordinator at San Diego State. Probably one of the interviews that Nate Dreiling, I don't know if he interviewed with a bunch of different people before eventually landing with Utah State. But yeah, could have ended up in Aztec.
Yeah,
now
he was somebody who was in demand after what he was doing at New Mexico State.
Certainly some very good things. But now he's the interim coach at Utah State, and he's got a challenge ahead of him. But a lot of these coaches, some of them are more familiar, some of them not as much. I just realized I don't think I clipped the Hawaii coach, Timmy Chang. I think I was maybe wanting to because I was listening to him because he's faced Nate Dreiling. He faced Nate Dreiling's defense, I think, the last 2 years. I realized I should have clipped that as well, because a lot of praise for Nate Dreiling as well from there. So, it's there's a lot said, mostly just in support of Utah State and in support of the players, like confidence that they'll rally, confidence that they'll still be a good football team. That this isn't just going to break the team apart, and then obviously support for Blake Anderson in what he's going through, and in Nate Dreiling in what he's going through. With trying to rally the troops to get ready for this season. So some interesting quotes there from Mountain West Media Days.
Yeah, in relation to what's taking place and happening at Utah State. So, yeah, crazy. I mean, today was the day that a lot of us were kind of anticipating that from the 14 days, given the 14 days to Blake Anderson to appeal the for cause being fired, which would deny him his buyout that he would be owed, because he still has another full season and a half, full year and a half left on his contract, in addition to any buyout stuff that's a part of that. But if he is let go for cause, then he is denied all of that. He does not get to access any of that.
Yeah, and we're talking about $3.5 million is the amount that we're looking at. And he gets that because of the extension that he signed after the championship season. He signed a contract. It's like, oh, yeah, I won a championship in year one. Let's renegotiate my contract. Got an extension, got a raise. Now it's, firing him, without the for cause. Yeah, Utah State would be on the hook for $3.5 million, which is, they're usually paying the coaches about $1 million a year. So that's 3 years of your next coach. That's a big hit on the budget. When usually the overall athletics budget is usually only around $40-ish million, give or take.
Yeah.
So quite a hefty sum that you're talking with, and obviously for Blake Anderson, that's a lot of money too.
Right. Yeah. 8968. I'm going to change your words a little bit because I don't really love the imagery that you're trying to portray. It says, from what I hear, the athletics department is having a tough time. It's hard to get behind the whole mess. It is a mess, and we're nowhere close to getting to the bottom of what's going on. But I hope that we can get some more details soon. I know Jason, you and Simran Neugebauer, both of you have submitted a series of different grammar requests. We've got some results back. We need to fine-tune a few things and issue maybe some additional requests. But we are continuing to work on this and trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. What is this cause that was so egregious that 4 people lost their jobs, and it's going to affect the rest of their careers?
Yeah, and the longer we don't have this information, kind of the worse it is for the university. If there's nothing there, then, well, that's horrible in and of itself. But, assuming there is cause there, and the longer Utah State has to withhold it, whether or not, they have to by policy and by law, whether they're willing or not withholding that information, that's not good for the university because it's having an impact, at least anecdotally speaking, it seems to be having an impact on, financials of the university. I don't know if it's a big impact, but there's people that I've just heard saying, oh, yeah, maybe reconsider donating, reconsidering getting season tickets. Now, I have seen other people rallying behind the university as fans, and I think that's great to see. Stick with the university, stick with your fandom through thick and thin. But there are some people who are reconsidering things. So the longer you have this uncertainty, that's what's potentially going to hurt the university.
Right, and that's a good point. That is something else that I've heard too, is that, look, from some of these people that are involved here that have lost their jobs or could be losing their jobs, they have made it clear, they love the institution. And they want people to continue to support the institution. There are vast differences of opinion for some of the personnel in that institution, but the institution itself shouldn't be harmed.
Yeah, it's bigger
It's hard to separate.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And
the emotions.
The institution was here long before Diana Sabo and Elizabeth Cantwell, and it's going to be here long after both of them.
Right.
So, if you give up on the fandom just because of this, that's maybe a little short-sighted. Although, again, the frustration is still justified. I don't want to dismiss that.
Right. And you know what? Sometimes the best way to vote, share your opinion or voice your opinion is how you spend or don't spend or commit your dollars.
Yeah, that can certainly...
That sends a very strong message.
That sends a very strong message. That's the one thing that makes this whole athletics world go round is money, money, money. By the way, 6521 saying, you're welcome. He's the one that suggested Mess on the Hill.
Mess on the Hill. I like it. That's how I will refer to it from now on.
There we go. So thank you very much, 6521. We're going to go ahead and take a break. On the other side, we'll get to, we'll shift to a different part of the athletic department. Utah State men's basketball, the news of them, well, they're going to take a little trip to get away from all this, quite literally. They'll be heading over across the pond into the Mediterranean and to play some basketball over there. So we'll get into that next here on the Full Court Press.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank, and we are celebrating our pioneers and their contribution to our state. Join us as we celebrate the days of 47 with our promotion. From now until July 31st, you can receive a 4.79 annual percentage yield on a 12-month CD or a 4.25 annual percentage yield on an 1847-day certificate of deposit. Come visit us or give us a call to learn more and be part of the celebration. Cache Valley Bank, mountains await. Member FDIC, no minimum balance required. Early withdrawal penalty may apply.
Aegis Home Health and Hospice is your premier healthcare provider. When your loved one needs care, at home, wherever home is, allow Aegis Home Health and Hospice to help. I'm Josh Fenton, part of the Aegis team, where we customize healthcare for optimal results. Our award-winning staff brings character, experience, and trust. Contact us today and see why we were voted Best of Northern Utah. Call 435-723-9000 or visit our website at myaegis.com.
Make it 4 years in a row. Advanced Heating and AC is honored to be named the gold medalist for the Best of Northern Utah in the AC HVAC category. You have many choices when it comes to your home's heating and air conditioning system. Make sure you choose the gold medal winning company, Advanced Heating and AC. Call 752-7272 or stop by their showroom west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Spend less time at the post office. With Formax and Mint mailing systems from Les Olson IT, you can quickly, accurately, and easily process your outgoing mail and even save on postage. Fold your documents, stuff and seal your envelopes, print addresses, weigh and measure to apply proper postage, all with the click of a button. With multiple model options available, you're sure to find a Formax solution and Mint mailing device that perfectly fits your business needs.
Les Olson IT.
Experience Barrel and Stave on Federal Avenue, where good food, good drinks, and good people meet, using local ingredients to create the most delicious taste possible. Barrel and Stave is a cozy cocktail bar offering a large selection of wines, whiskeys, and cocktails, along with an amazing selection of bar bites and weekly chef specials, guaranteed to tantalize your taste buds. With handmade pasta nights every Tuesday and Thursdays that offer $2 off drafts. Come see what you've been missing. Barrel and Stave, Tuesday through Saturday evenings on Federal Avenue in Logan.
No matter what the condition, DD Auto and Salvage can get your vehicle off your property. Now is the time to make some extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that old junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it easy to get rid of your junker vehicle, paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204.
And call today. See store for details.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
It's the Full Court Press. Eric, don't bump your mic.
Forgot my button.
435-339-0321. That's the number to text in for the Full Court Press text line, 8968. Thanks for noting. I know that one of the previous texts, an unfortunate turn of phrase there, he's reworded it saying, let's just say it seems Utah State is shooting themselves in the foot.
There you go.
We'll go with that one.
I'm okay with that.
5338. Says, don't worry, Ingrid. My rendition of the national anthem was much worse than yours. Signed, Carl Lewis. If any of you listen to the national anthem sung by Ingrid, I forget what was her last name. It's like a 4-time Grammy-nominated
country
singer
star. Like
who
she knows how to sing.
Who admitted to being drunk, and it's why her performance of the national anthem was, we'll just say, subpar.
Right. Yes, very. And then today she announced that she's checking herself into rehab.
Which feels like a I mean, I guess if she has a problem, I guess if you're drunk before performing a national anthem at the home run derby, maybe you do have a problem. But
yeah,
it feels like every time something like this happens, it's always, I'm checking myself into a facility. Which, if that,
a little cover.
If that, it feels like a kind of a PR stunt. I'm checking myself into a facility. But that's celebrity drama, and I don't really ever get into that. I just kind of happen to catch it sometimes when it happens. But let's talk about Utah State men's basketball. The news released late yesterday. I was already at home relaxing, trying to have a... Of course, this wasn't exactly unpleasant news. Utah State men's basketball, they announced a European tour. And by European tour, they really mean a Mediterranean tour.
Right.
Because they're going to be in Italy, in Rome and Florence. So the tour will have stops in Rome and Florence, obviously in Italy. And they'll be in Croatia, cities of Split and Dubrovnik. They will be playing 3 official games. They'll face Stella Azzurra of Rome Serie B, and then KK Split of the Croatian League, and also KK Podgorica of Montenegro's ABA League. My apologies for butchering
That was a
these
fair
names.
attempt, Jason.
Those aren't the worst names, though. That's not like I feel like I at least got 80% of most of those names. Just missing out on the proper accents and things like that.
Sure.
Couple of syllables I need to work on. Of course, these guys will obviously be playing these teams, maybe learning a bit of Italian and Croatian and whatnot. So
yeah, a great opportunity. Like Utah State men's basketball team did this last with Tim Duryea.
I think it was either Duryea or Smith, and I believe they went to Italy. I think it was Duryea.
I think it was Duryea. I don't remember
sure,
Smith or Odom doing this.
Yeah, I think it was Duryea. I think it was like the last year. I think his last year, and I feel like they went to Italy. Maybe I should look back and confirm that. But yeah, you're allowed to do these every... It's like 4 or 5 years or something like that.
And these are great opportunities for new coaches and new teams to come together. It's a mini training camp. You get a chance to play games, like organized basketball, before you normally can play organized basketball.
Yeah,
and coach
together.
and practice with your team. So this is particularly great for a new coach in a new situation with a lot of new players.
Yeah, 9 newcomers, obviously a new coach. So getting to play together, the announcement said that all players will be eligible to play. So everyone on the roster, which seems to be set at 14 players right now. They don't. Maybe they'll bring a player home with them. Just be like, hey, we like you. Come over.
We got an extra seat.
We'll offer you a scholarship. No, that's probably not going to happen, but. So they'll get to play together. Of course, Dayton Albury. We should mention this. We actually are having an interview with Dayton Albury tomorrow. We'll be having him on at 4:30, so we can talk with him not only about the European tour, but also him playing with the Bahamas national team. They're trying to qualify for the Olympics. Unfortunately, it came up short there. But yeah, had a chance to rub shoulders with some NBA players who are on the Bahamas national team. So we can certainly talk about that and his experience there. He actually hasn't, at least up until this week, he hadn't practiced with Utah State until he returned home. I believe he returned home like either today or yesterday or something like that. He posted on social media.
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, he posted like he was flying back into the States. He mentioned that on social media. So yeah, he's back this week. I don't know if he's practiced, depending on resting after travel and whatnot. But yeah, we'll have a chance to talk to one of Utah State's newcomers, one of their point guards who's looking to have a big final season at the Division I level. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and to talk about his path to Utah State and looking forward to international play, but also getting to travel internationally. Because Utah State. They'll be gone for like 10 days. They leave August 9th, come back on the 19th, get a chance to play some professional type teams, see some amazing international sites, and get a lot of practices in with this new coaching staff.
Yeah, it's those great like team bonding plus the opportunity to get on-court work, which again is incredibly important for this team where so many players need to learn how to play together. Last year, the team didn't start off on a super great foot. I mean, they lost an early game to Bradley, but then they began to roll things together. Of course, it's not like they were ever bad, but, lost to Bradley, struggled a bit against SUU, and so you saw there was a bit of rust there kind of early on. I think it was even in one of their exhibition games where, It was either the exhibition or their first game that was against like a non-D1 team. They looked a little iffy. So you could see some of the rust there. Shades of the team that would eventually go on to win an NCAA tournament game. This could help maybe accelerate the process. Not only do they actually have some returners, unlike last year, but they'll have more time to play actual games against opponents to be able to gauge their own talent and what they need to improve on. Something they can work on once they get back to the States and start practicing a bit more.
Yeah, so exciting stuff for Utah State men's basketball. And we'll get a chance to hear a lot more about that tomorrow, 4:30.
Yeah, it'll be 4:30, Dayton Albury here on the Full Court Press. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, the stat that blew our minds and the player of the week.
Beezer Lock & Key has been providing businesses and homeowners with security for 30 years. Security is priceless, especially if it's guaranteed. No cheap locks, no bad keys, no inadequate hardware, just expertise, precision, and security. Beezer Lock & Key believes there's no place like a safe home, and no home safer than one secured by them. When you want guaranteed security and peace of mind for your home, business, or vehicle, go with the pros on the familiar corner of 4th North and 1st West in Logan. Beezer Lock & Key. Search BeezerLock.com to discover more.
It happens every third Thursday. Come learn how to make an informed decision for your retirement, Medicare, and Social Security benefits at LSS Insurance. Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance. If you're thinking about Medicare, you need to learn about Medicare. Come to our free Medicare and Social Security seminar the third Thursday, July 18th at 7 p.m. Call 752-9493 to RSVP. Call LSS Insurance 752-9493. Learn about your Medicare options the third Thursday, July 18th.
Daryl's Appliance Service and Sales is the only place in Cache Valley where you can apply your service trip fee if you decide you want a new appliance instead. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. We want your appliance repair to be easy. Save time and money because we have everything you need under one roof. Appliance service and sales and more. You always get the best appliance repair team in northern Utah and southern Idaho. And if you decide to buy a new instead, just apply the repair fee to your new appliance. See store for details only at Daryl's Appliance West on Airport Road.
The patio is open. The chips are endless. Drinks on tap. You know it's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant, gold winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. That's a complete lunch for just $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and massive burrito, just $7.95. The patio, the sun, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th Weston Center in Logan.
Ah, the t-shirt. It's the unofficial clothing of summer. We all have a favorite t-shirt. The Logo Shop has custom screen printed over 1 million t-shirts for teams, clubs, businesses, family reunions, fundraisers, marathons, bike races. One-of-a-kind designs with creative graphics, even funny phrases. Whether you need a couple dozen or a couple thousand, the team at the Logo Shop will help with your one-of-a-kind design. From concept to creation. Order your custom t-shirts from the Logo Shop.
The Logo Shop. The Logo Stuff. The Logo Shop.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.E. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You are sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond, either natural or lab-grown, from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Whether you drive a little or a lot, your locally owned Napa Auto Parts has all the items to keep your car running smooth and looking good. Napa Gold filters and 5 quarts of premium full synthetic oil for, I think I actually, in the middle, I realized I was supposed to put the Full Court Press liner. I messed up on the rejoin, Eric.
It's all good.
But you know who won't mess up? Napa Auto Parts.
No.
Again, a bunch of different deals. And a whole lot of others while supplies last. Your locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts. How's that for realism in radio? In the middle of an ad read for one of our wonderful sponsors, just be like, oh yeah, I screwed up. Because I can't go a single show running the board without having some kind of screw up here.
It's all good.
Small or large. None of you would have even noticed.
Hey,
if I
most
hadn't said
people don't
anything.
even know.
But let's try and not mess up. Let's go to the stat that blew our mind and player of the week. We're a little short on time, as we always kind of are when we push this to the last segment. And I haven't pulled up the audio bits anyway. But let's start with the stat that blew our mind. Eric, why don't you go first?
All right, $2,165,000. That is the amount of money that's been handed out to individual all-star related events since the start of the year. This in mind because Teoscar Hernandez won the home run derby last night, and he earned a $1 million paycheck for winning the home run derby.
It's got to be nice.
Yeah, $1 million for the skills challenge in NHL, $105,000 for the slam dunk contest winner, that was Mac McClung, and Damian Lillard, $60,000 for winning the three-point contest.
Wish I could make that kind of money in one go.
Yeah, in one night.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
It's not bad.
Just make a few threes. Mine, a bit of a cop out, but 8, as in 8 new head coaches for the Mountain West Conference in football this upcoming season. Out of 12 positions, 8 will be filled by a first-year head coach. All right, player of the week. I'm going to go with Neemias Queta. He has had 2 absolutely spectacular games in Summer League. I don't even know why he's playing at this point. He's just racking up points, rebounds, blocks. Absolutely stellar performances. Clearly the best player in his team. Probably the best player in Summer League, at least playing the best out of anyone in Summer League pretty much right now on offense and defense. So having a pretty good week, Neemias Queta.
Good for him. I've got to get it to 2 people. Lautaro Martinez and Mikel Oyarzabal. These were the 2 players, one for Spain, one from Argentina, that got the go-ahead goals for their respective teams to win the Euro and the Copa America championships over the weekend.
Yeah, there we go. Big
Both late in the games.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Spain was like 80th minute, I think. And
86th minute for Spain, 112th minute for Argentina.
Yeah, so extra time, Argentina got that 1-0 victory, and then 2-1 victory over England, who insists that every trophy is coming home. To a home that none of them have ever known. No international trophy has even touched English
because
fingers.
They claim they invented the game, and that's why it's coming home there?
Maybe they did, but they're terrible at it, at least relative to everyone else.
And I guess they
can only tie America.
Their coach said he's not coming back anymore.
Yeah, which is a shame because he's actually a pretty decent coach.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and catch us tomorrow as we interview Dayton Albury.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Draft day is a big deal, especially if you're drafting in the top 10. But when it comes to baseball, it is so difficult to find somebody who can make an immediate impact. Now, Paul Skeens is an outlier with the Pirates, but let's go back to 2022 number 1 overall pick, Jackson Holliday. Lasted just 10 games with the Orioles before going back to AAA. 2021 number 2 overall pick, Jack Leiter. He went up to the major leagues. His ERA was just over 16 before going back to the minors. Spencer Torkelson, first overall pick in 2020. He's back in the minor leagues after failing with the Tigers. Acquiring young talent continues to keep your team competitive. Look at the effect that players like Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson have had on the Orioles. But when you're drafting young college talent or high school talent, the margin for error is always going to be leaps and bounds more significant than other sports that solely select from a pool of college players. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. When it comes to protecting your loved ones, you need a home security system you can trust. Simply Safe Home Security. They combine cutting-edge technology with a customer-first approach for award-winning protection. Simply Safe earns your trust every single day by keeping you safe and satisfied, but never locked into a contract. Go to